Welcome back to the Chasing Happiness podcast, an honest podcast about finding happiness, what it really means, and the process of getting there. My name is Crystal, and today we're talking about being a fixer. So for those of you that know me personally, you'll know I have always sort of been a fixer. And what I mean by that is when someone tells me they're having an issue with something or they're struggling to figure something out, I jump into this mode where I try to help them. I try to help them figure it out, get things done, try to logically think through what the steps are to help them get to where they're trying to go. Now, I will tell you, because I've learned the hard way over a number of years, not everybody wants that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because if you're like me, if you're a fixer, if you're a problem solver, if you're one of those people that tries to do that for other people, you've probably stumbled a little bit over the years because not everybody wants that help. Sometimes people just want to be able to vent. Sometimes they just want someone to hear that they're struggling so that they can figure out a way to do it themselves. And it's a really hard habit to break, but I told you guys earlier this year, my word is vulnerability. So I wanted to talk about this week because I think it's really important for us to acknowledge what we do struggle with, how we try to get over it, how we try to deal with it, so that other people can understand if they're like you and they struggle with the same thing. First, they're not alone. But second, there are ways that you can sort of balance it out and find a way to allow it to still be a part of who you are without sort of plowing through other people in the process. So for me, it's taken a long time, and as I said, I still struggle sometimes with it today, but I've gotten to a place where I can better feel out when people actually need my help. And I also have gotten to the place where I allow, one, for people to ask for the help, or two, the space for me to acknowledge whatever it is that they're going through, and then ask them if they want my help in that process. Because it's great if you want to fix things for people. It's great if you want to help people. It's wonderful if you want to be somebody who helps, reduce stress and make things more manageable for the people that you care about and that you love. But it can also be problematic when you're dealing with people who want to figure things out themselves, but just need someone to hear the struggle that they're having. So I've butted heads with a lot of people over the years, and I've had arguments with really close friends. At the same time, I have other friends who specifically come to me and say, I have no idea how to do this. Can you do it for me? Or would you be willing to help me? So it's kind of like everything else in life. There is a balance to all of it. But first we need to acknowledge that this is one of the things that makes up our personality. And I've been this way since I was a kid. I have always been a fixer. I've always been a problem solver. I have always been someone that wanted to remove those burdens from other people. And like I said, not only does that lead to arguments in some cases, but it can also lead to a lot of additional personal stress because you're taking on so much of other people's issues. It can also lead to a lot of anxiety. So I'll be honest with you guys, I've struggled with anxiety most of my life in some way, shape, or form. I've only figured out how to deal with it in the last 5 to 10 years, really. And since I'm 40 now, that tells you anxiety has been a pretty big part of most of my life. In my need to fix things, I was also adding additional stress and anxiety to an already overflowing cup of anxiety when I was younger. Now, I'm not saying on this podcast that I still don't try to fix things for people. You guys know me. The whole reason I have this podcast is to try to help people. I am a fixer at heart. I am someone who wants to problem solve. I want everybody to be living the best life that they possibly can because I've been in a position where I wasn't, and I know what that feels like, and I don't want everyone else to be there. But I also have to keep my personal issue around being a fixer in check. I can't plow through every single situation and try to fix things. I can't assume that the people who need help want my help. So if you, dear listener, are like me and you are a fixer, It's okay. You don't have to stop that part of your personality. You don't have to get rid of that part of you, but you do need to acknowledge that that part of you does exist, so that when you find yourself in a situation where it may not be received quite as well, you can take steps to make sure that you're not plowing over anyone else, that you're not plowing through their feelings or expectations. And a big part of that is simply asking. It's something we really don't do a whole lot anymore. We don't ask people, do you need my help with this? Or do you need me just here so that you can vent and de-stress and move forward? Because most of the issues that we have in life right now, especially right now, are things that we know we can figure out ourselves. But because we don't have the social circles that we did, because we don't have the outlets that we did to be able to vent and get rid of that anxiety and that stress, we're really just looking for those outlets in different ways right now. So think about whether or not you are a fixer, like I am. And if you are, do you find yourself overstepping in some situations? Do people get upset when you try to take over or fix things for them? If so, try to find a balance where you're asking them if they need your help, where you're acknowledging that maybe they just need to be heard. And even if you're not a fixer, this is a pretty good rule of thumb for regular life anyway, because the truth is the people who want your help won't be offended when you ask. And the people who don't want your help because they just want time to vent, they're going to feel better because you haven't plowed over them to try and fix the issues that are going on. And like I said, this is not something that you sort of fix overnight. It takes a lot of training in a situation where you can clearly see someone is struggling or someone needs assistance in some way, to just take a beat. Think about how best to handle it based on the person that you're dealing with. Ask them what they're in need of in the moment. And there are still times where I will catch myself and I'll be talking to a friend or a family member and my brain will go instantly to that. How can I fix this for them? What can I do to make it better? And if you're acknowledging that and recognizing it when it happens, you can do a far better job at interrupting it when it does. Because the truth is, the people who know me and know me really well, they know I'm here for them no matter what they need. I have a friend who literally calls me because she has problems researching things on the internet. So she'll call me and ask me to do it for her because she knows that's who I am. So the people who really know you will be okay with you asking what it is that they need. And if you do find yourself overstepping as a fixer, as a problem solver, don't beat yourself up too badly. Recognize that maybe it didn't work out properly this time. Maybe you did overstep. Apologize and try to do better next time. Because the truth is, we all have personality traits that not everyone is going to love. Sometimes we may not even love them ourselves. And that's okay. The whole point in life is to just try to do better tomorrow. Recognize what went wrong, where you overstepped, maybe where you crossed a line. And then tomorrow you do a better job at regulating that. So this week, think about your personality traits. Think about what of those traits maybe might be a little abrasive to other people. Just because someone finds a personality trait that you have abrasive doesn't mean you have to get rid of it. But you really need to take stock of those traits that you have that might be causing you some friction. Because the truth is, I'm a fixer at heart. That's never going to go away. I don't want to get rid of that part of my personality. But I can take steps to make sure that that part of my personality isn't overrunning the people that I care about, the people who I really want to help when they're ready for it. And if you're a fixer like me, that's perfectly okay. You can still have a great life. You can still do wonderful things and help lots of people. You just have to start to take inventory and make sure that you're not overrunning other people to do it. Thank you for listening this week. Thank you to every one of you who continues to go back and listen to previous episodes. I love each and every one of you who listens and contacts me weekly. If you want to help out the podcast and keep it ad-free, please join our Patreon community. You'll find a link to it in the description for this podcast. You also get a few really cool bonuses when you join and access to our personal Facebook page, specifically for our Patreon group. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful week this week, and I will chat with you next week. Bye for now.